So now a little tribute to Bill Mollison, the legend. So Bill Mollison, the legendary permaculture teacher, promoter, and designer, who over 26 years of nonstop traveling and writing personally planted the seeds of permaculture in over 120 countries. Bill founded the Permaculture Institute, the first and longest running permaculture institute in existence. He established it in 1978 and he incorporated it in 1981 as a nonprofit organization. Basically when Bill died, he died broke. He didn't really take money from permaculture. He paid his bills and travel, and he went to the courses and he did all that, but at the end, the book publishing was in Tigera Publishing, which is a nonprofit organization, and they used the money to support permaculture students to be flown from countries like India or Africa to Australia to take classes in the institutes in Australia. So he had a lot of achievements and initiatives, things that he started independently. This is in his autobiography that he was most proud about. So he obviously did a lot in permaculture, but that wasn't necessarily his thing that he said the most he was proud of. He independently researched and wrote a 3-volume genealogy of Tasmanian Aborigines as a response to the Tasmanian government's refusal to give schooling grants to Aboriginal children on the basis of their supposed extinction. So when the child would go and say, I want to go to school, they said, but you can't go to school. And they said, well, why not? Why can't I go to school? And they said, well, because you're not Aboriginal, but you're also not Tasmanian. You're extinct, so you can't go to school. And so he went and did their genealogy to prove that they were Aboriginal so that they could go to school. So with these genealogies, Bill was able to prove the lineage and existence of many Aboriginal families and succeeded in forcing the government to issue grants to the children of needy families. So established, and he did that while he was a university professor. So he established the Permaculture Institute to promote education and sustainability systems worldwide. So that's the mission of the Institute. He set up Tigera Publications, the publisher of permaculture books, the profits of which fund permaculture projects worldwide. He created the Earth Bank Society to promote and advise on ethical investment and community revolving funds. He initiated a trust and aid fund to provide teachers for less developed countries so people could apply through his nonprofit organizations, and then he would send the teacher paid for to teach a course like in a village in India. Then he would teach the next teachers. So he would teach 10, or they would send a teacher to teach 10 Indian people who then could teach the next wave. So that was a big movement on how to spread permaculture into places where people didn't go. Or you couldn't get those 10 people, it'd be too expensive to bring them to the Western country, so you could send one Westerner to teach them. Okay? He established the Phoenix Seed Company, specializing in open pollinated seeds as a response to GEOs. He established the Permaculture Academy for Tertiary Education, which Raktamachat adheres to their foundation yearbook on how we operate our institute. So it's a book that basically tells you how to run permaculture institutes. It initiated the establishment of the Permaculture Credit Union in America, still running today. Get an ATM, says permaculture. And your money that's in that account, just like any bank, doesn't get great interest. But at least it's not being utilized to fund loans to unethical investments. He published lots of books. These are just an assortment. They've been distributed in over 20 countries and translated into those languages. He built 2 world-class permaculture properties while he was traveling, writing all these books and teaching courses, called Tigera Farm and in New South Wales and the Sisters Creek in Tasmania. That's his farm, and that's his master plan. And so as we're going to do the course about master planning, the output is to create a plan of the farm that hopefully you would at some point in life implement. So he not only taught, he did. And I have to say it's a difficult thing for me because I have a true belief system that teachers teach because they can't do. Yeah, it's a joke. It's a long-running joke because most jokes have some kind of merit. And I have to struggle with that because if I don't have Raktamachat to show what I did and I'm just teaching this, that's the issue. So it's nice when you can have a teacher who's showing you, I did this and I'll show you how. That's where in the mornings we're going to do our practicals. It's really nice to talk about permaculture in the afternoons. It's necessary to give us our foundation for why we're doing things. But we have to go outside, get our hands dirty, and do it, and or it's not real. So this is a difference between permaculture being about what I call experiential, hands-on, or practical education. So there's a balance, okay? Not just 72 hours of lecture telling you what you should believe because I showed you some pictures and isn't that great, but we don't go outside and make compost, or we don't go outside and make biofert, we don't go outside and plant trees or seeds. So he did it, and that's a really interesting thing. Same with David Holmgren, he did it. So I think they get a lot of credit, and the movement is on the basis that the teachers typically actually do what they're teaching. It's much different than a lot of other educational systems. Bill's teachings, they were quite legendary. He had a style all his own. He was all over the place. He told, towards the end of his career, he got a little bit more eccentric in his storytelling, and he would tell stories about the trips that he went to and the things he did, and it got a little bit hard to follow. So towards that time, he started to co-teach with Jeff Lawton. Bill would basically, in the mornings, at this point, they're not really doing practicals. Okay, guys, there's not the original PDCs were 72 hours of lecture. Bill would, in the mornings, tell his stories, and maybe not a lot of stuff got communicated well or off track. And Jeff would come in the afternoons and basically do the technical permaculture. Okay? In this instance, we do it similarly. We're going to have technical permaculture in the afternoon, that's our lectures, and in the mornings we're going to do practicals. And we'll talk about, during our practicals, it's teaching, I'm talking the whole time, teaching you how to do it, but it keeps us on track. So that's our style. So 36 hours of practicals, 36 hours of lecture, okay. Some places still do 72 hours of lecture, but I think things move on, permaculture moves on, the world moves on. With the advent of having computers, pictures, projectors, we can speed up the process of delivering the content to you, where they had to do everything on a whiteboard. And when you're writing on the whiteboard, you're waiting for me to write. So I can draw pretty pictures, but you have to wait 1 minute, 2 minutes for every time I draw a picture, and I have to erase it. That adds up to reasonably wasted time. If I've already have the picture drawn and I put it up for you, it's instant, an instant off. This allows us to speed it up, spend more time outside. So, as I said, one of Bill's legendary students was Jeff Lawton, and he became a student in 1984, 3 years after the birth of permaculture. Stayed with basically Bill throughout. And some people have referred to him as the Pope of permaculture. What that means is he's carrying the flag. Okay, Bill got too old, Jeff's got it. The question is, who's got it next, right? And for me personally, I don't think it's going to be a next Pope. I think there's like loads of people, so the internet has become the flag bearer. Like YouTube carrying the message, institutes everywhere, so it's not necessarily need to be, and permaculture is not that way anyway, need to be the person in charge. It's more open source, it's more free knowledge, or just giving knowledge away for free. But Jeff Lawton is a world-renowned for field expertise and extensive teaching experience in the ecological badlands of Earth, the areas of extreme cultural conflicts, as well as more friendly environments. He's a founding director of the acclaimed Permaculture Research Institute. Jeff, together with his institute, is working in more countries and coordinating more projects on the ground than any other permaculture institute today. That's from his website, of his description of himself. And it's pretty accurate to what he does. I mean, he is the person that has brought it forward. He's now at the end of his career. But all of that knowledge that he shared through videos, and no one has as many videos on the internet as he does, and maybe, I don't know if anybody might surpass that. But they're really good, highly recommended again. It's probably the only person that I push in the class, so take the opportunity to go to YouTube and look him up. So Bill was a natural at marketing and media, and that's probably where Jeff is now following up. Bill was the first person to kind of really make these practical series, so Global Gardener, and he was distributing them by VHS tape, and to spread the message. Now they're on YouTube. So think about that. So what does permaculture mean? How could I distill it into just some little bullet points? Well, it could be described as the people's solution. It's something we can actually do. It's like there's some solutions that I don't know, global warming, but maybe that's at a very macro level. What can I personally do? Well, I can personally reduce my consumption. I can personally use less fossil fuels. It's a planet solution, so if we all take personal responsibility for our actions and we can spread that message globally, then the planet will get better because we're not individually making it worse. It could be ahead of its time. At the point when it came out, the world really wasn't at the cusp that it is now, and with the ability to spread media through social networks, if you will, it might be right now entering its time to be, say, go more international. So that'll give us a way forward. It's a pathway. It's something that I can look towards to help me see what I need to go forward. What is my plan? And we all have personal plans, and we all change over time. So what is my plan? So my permaculture master plan is an organic document that changes with me, right? It helps to guide me on what I want to do. And that gives us a people's movement. It's something that now, more of a globally, what is the first global movement? Permaculture is really global in the sense that it's almost like a global movement that can help us to become more sustainable or ecological. So whether it's under the name permaculture or just generally sustainability, okay? This movement of becoming more sustainable, understanding what that means, and living for the future more than for ourselves, this idea is spreading. And I think that's what we're going to try to explore through the class. So permaculture design is a powerful tool. So if you learn to do the design, if you learn to do the practice and the process of permaculture design, you have the power to do something. You really get it. It's like having a chainsaw. That's a powerful tool. How you use the chainsaw makes it appropriate or inappropriate, okay? So one person's cutting down old growth forest, another person may be clearing the place in his food forest for a fruit tree, okay? And then using the biomass for the nutrient cycling. So one's appropriate, one might be inappropriate. So together we can change the world. That's what we're going to try to look through. So we're going to try to go through the steps and how we would look at doing that.